Hey guys, welcome to class today. As you read in your email, I will not be in class today, Tuesday, or tomorrow, Wednesday. I had to take some time off, so I decided to make a recording so you can still have your full review for your Unit 4 test, which is on Thursday. So I'm just going to walk us through the PowerPoint for that and kind of explain the problems. What I would suggest is when we get to a problem, pause the recording and try it on your own to see if you can get the answer just like you would do in class. And then once you have your answer, just play the recording and then I'll talk about the correct answer and you can see if you got it right. So we're going to talk about the test info and then we have a bunch of practice problems to go through. Your Unit 4 test is going to be due on Thursday, May 24th by midnight. It has 7 questions and they are worth 3 points each for a total of 21 points, so more than 4 quizzes, so make sure you're taking it seriously. We're also going to have class time on Thursday to work on the test. So if you watch the full recording today on Tuesday, feel free to take your test on Wednesday. But if you want to spend Tuesday and Wednesday studying, feel free to take your test in class on Thursday. Like I said, I'm gone today and tomorrow, so this recording is in place of an in-class review. And feel free to bring any questions with you when you come to class on Thursday, and I can definitely get those answered so you don't have to take the test before you have any questions figured out. So topic number 1, converting quadratics. It says choose your answer on the polling tool below. You're given an equation, x squared plus 8x plus 13, and it wants you to convert the equation to vertex form. Vertex form. So at this time, go ahead and pause the recording, work on the problem, and then play the recording again when you have your answer. All right, hopefully you got answer A, x plus 4 squared minus 3. Now, converting from standard form to vertex form, that's when we ignore the 13 on the end and we complete the square. So if we ignore this 13 up here, we have x squared plus 8x plus blank. We know that we take the 8, we cut it in half, that gives us 4, oops, and then we square it, that gives us 16. So 16 is the missing number for completing the square. And then we have to think, how do we go from that 16 to the original 13? And we know that we get there by subtracting 3. So we're going to put subtracting 3 at the end of our final equation. First, we need to factor that completed square, so that x squared plus 8x plus 16 factors to x plus 4 squared, because 4 was the cut in half number. And then we put the minus 3 on the end. So x plus 4 squared minus 3 will get us to that standard form, so the answer choice is A. X plus 4 squared minus 3. Topic number 2, x-intercepts. Choose your answer on the polling tool below. Given f of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 36, and it asks us what are the x-intercepts. Now there are a couple different ways that you could find these. You could use the quadratic formula. You could try to factor, although I don't think that there is anything that factors easily for this one. And the easiest way that most of you will probably choose to do this is by using Desmos. Remember desmos.com. So go ahead and pause the video, work on the problem, whichever way you choose to do it, and then play the video again when you have your answer. And hopefully your answer is D, 4 and negative 9. Now you can see here I took a snip of what I graphed on Desmos. So if you type in that equation, x squared plus 5x minus 36 into Desmos, you would see that it crosses the x-axis in those two spots that I have circled there in blue. It crosses in negative 9 and it crosses at positive 4. If you'd use the quadratic formula, you should have also gotten 4 and negative 9 as your answers. Either way will get you the same answers. Next up, transformations. Now, this was the lesson where I gave you guys that chart. Make sure you have that chart in your notes, or you have it printed out, or you have it somewhere where you can access it, because you will need it for the test. Okay, remember that chart told you if this happens to the equation, this is the type of transformation, and this is what it does. So for this one, it says let f of x equal x plus 4 squared minus 3, and let g of x equal x plus 4 squared plus 6. Which statement describes the graph of g of x with respect to the graph of f of x? Is it translated to the right 9 units, up 9 units, compressed vertically by a factor of -4, or stretched horizontally by a factor of -4? Go ahead and pause, look at that chart that I made for you guys, and then play it again when you have your answer. And the answer for that one was B. It is translated up 9 units. We know that to go from f of x to g of x, you first need to look at what type of change is happening. And we see the change is that we are adding 9. We start with the -3. We add 9 to get that +6. And then if you look at the chart, you can see that whenever you add a number to the end of an equation, it moves the graph up. That should say graph, not equation. Moves the graph up. So in this case, it moves it up 9 units. Make sure you study that chart and you have that handy for your test. Topic number 4, rate of change. We did this one, I believe it was 4.08 maybe, rate of change. So make sure you grab your notes to figure this one out. It says let f of x equal x squared plus 6x plus 11. What is the average rate of change from x equals 5 to x equals 8? Remember, you're going to use a formula for this. So look in your notes, find this lesson, pause the video and work out the problem, and play it again when you have your answer. All right, this one's a lot of work, but the correct answer is 19. The average rate of change is 19. We know that when we have average rate of change, we need to find x1, y1, x2, and y2. It gives us the two x values, x1 equals 5 and x2 equals 8, because remember that the bigger number is x2. So we then need to find the y values. So we plug in our first x. We plug in 5. 5 squared plus 6 times 5 plus 11 ends up giving us 66. So we plugged in x1 equals 5 and we got out y1, which is 66. Then we want to do the same thing for the second x value. We plug in x equals 8. So plug in an 8 anywhere you see that x. That gives us 8 squared plus 6 times 8 plus 11, which equals 123. So x2 was 8, and it gave us y2, which is 123. So now we have all 4 of the values we need. We have x1 equals 5, y1 equals 66, x2 equals 8, and y2 equals 123. Then our final step is to plug those into our formula. Remember, it's the same as the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or rise over run. So we plug in 123 minus 66 over 8 minus 5, which reduces down to 57 over 3, which is 19. Don't forget, you can use your calculators for these, okay? I don't expect you to do them in your head. Use your calculator if you need to. So 19 is the rate of change. Topic number 4, this is another rate of change one. I went over this in class when we did this lesson, so it should be kind of a quick one for you. Which function grows at the fastest rate for increasing values of x? And if you look at the 3 answer choices, f of x is 7x plus 14. That is a linear function. B, g of x equals 6 to the x. That is an exponential function. And C, h of x equals 8x squared plus 2. That is a quadratic function. So which function grows the fastest? Linear, exponential, or quadratic? Go ahead and pause if you need to think about it, or if you already know the answer, you can just leave it playing. The answer is B, 6 to the x grows the fastest because the exponential function always grows most quickly. Okay, so whenever you see this type of problem asking which function grows the fastest, it is the exponential function. So exponentials are where we have variables in the exponents. Exponential. So make sure you have that in your notes. Next up, systems of equations. This is where we did a quadratic and a linear in a system together. It says, what is the solution to the system of equations? Gives you the graphs right there. You don't even have to type them into Desmos or anything. So try to remember how you find the solutions when you're given the graph. Pause the video and take a minute to think about it, and then play the video again when you have your answer. All right, the correct answer for number 6 is B, 3, 4 and 5, 12. So remember, a solution to a system is anywhere that the two graphs cross. So in this case, they cross in two spots. You can see that it crosses here at 3, 4 and up here at 5, 12, over 5 up 12. So it crosses in two spots, so the solution has both of those points, 3, 4 and 5, 12. Sometimes it only crosses in one spot, so then you would just have that one point as your solution. In this case, it crosses in two spots. And then lastly, number 7, interpreting graphs. The graph represents the height, y, in feet above the ground of a water balloon x seconds after it is dropped from a window. How many seconds is the water balloon in the air for? Okay, so it tells you the time there along the bottom on the x-axis and the height on the y-axis. And it's asking how many seconds is the water balloon in the air for. This is from lesson 4.11, where we worked on really carefully reading the problem and really carefully looking at graphs. So go ahead and pause it if you need to think about what your answer would be, and then play it again when you're ready. All right, the correct answer for this one is 2 seconds. You can see there that at 2 seconds, the graph is at a height of 0. Okay, it's on y equals 0. So that would mean the water balloon hit the ground at that point. So it was in the air for 2 seconds and then it hit the ground. Another point of importance on this would be the 64 up at the top. That means when it started, it was dropped from a height of 64 feet. Okay, because when the time is 0, it's at 64 feet in the air. So it started at a height of 64 feet, it dropped down, and it took 2 seconds to reach the ground. All right, so those are the 7 review problems that I have for you. Remember, the test is 7 questions long. So watch this recording. You can replay it as many times as you need to. Make sure you have your notes organized. And like I said, we will have time in class on Thursday to take the test, but feel free to take it earlier than that if you feel comfortable. And if you have any questions, I can answer those Thursday when we have class when I'm back. Have a great couple of days, guys, and I'll see you on Thursday.